Okay, we're out here today in the shop. We're getting ready to change the starter on my 2006 Ford Taurus 3.0 liter engine. And this is a pretty simple job. As a matter of fact, there's so many videos on the YouTube today for this particular job right here that I'm not going to go just really in depth on this, other than showing you when I get this starter off. I'm going to show you exactly what happens to these starters and why they have to be changed so often. It's just a poor design. They put the oil filter right above the starter, and I mean right above it, so that every time you change the filter you're going to dump oil all over the starter, and then that gets in there and degenerates the brushes and turns them into a mush inside the starter. It causes it to lose contact and overheat and stuff like that, and it eventually fails. So I'm going to show you today, if the brushes aren't completely just worn out, and if they're not the starter's not that old, you know, you can. I took my starter apart. I was waiting on the starter the other day, and it didn't come in on time, so I went ahead and took the starter apart and cleaned it, got all that mush out of there, all the oil and stuff out of it, put it back together, and it's been working fine. But I'm going to go ahead and change it, but I am going to order a new set of brushes and put that back together. I'm going to disassemble the starter and show all the beginners that I have some subscribers I think that might be beginners, and if they are, then I want them to be able to see exactly how a starter works, to know what's going on with the starter. Okay, so now let's get started. The only tools we're going to be using today, this is a very simple job, like I said. I've got a swivel head ratchet right here. I'll try that first with this little extension. And I might have to go to this one on my ratchet so that I can use my ratchet and expedite the job a little bit. I might have to use the 13 and 10 millimeter. This is all 13 and 10 millimeter and 8 millimeter to take your battery off. Now the first thing you want to do on this job is disconnect your negative post on your battery. Negative post, always. And lay it to the side. Make sure it doesn't touch anything metal, because it will short out. Okay, so get your negative cable off the battery, secure it somewhere where it can't touch metal. And then if you have an air compressor, I suggest you use a ratchet. If you have an electric ratchet, use your electric ratchet. It makes the job much easier, much quicker anyway. We're just going to get underneath the car now and set up our lights and go ahead and get this thing off. Okay? So, I can't really believe how easy this job actually is. There's nothing to it. The starter is located right there in the front. It kind of tells me that they knew that this would be the problem with putting this stinking starter right underneath the oil, so they make it easier. You know, I'm getting the impression that they want you to pull the starter every time before you change the oil. That's what it seems like to me when they do something like this. Other than the fact, you know, that they're just pressed for. I don't know why these engineers do things like they do. They just do it. Okay. Now we're going to get underneath here and set our lights. There's Bonnie Lass. She wants to get under here and help me. Bonnie always wants to get out here and do a little work. You want to come out here and help Daddy? You want to help Daddy do the work? Okay, there's my little puppy. She wants to work on the car too. Oh man, you know, you just gotta love your little dog. Donnie, you're gonna get all greasy underneath there. You're gonna get greasy. You better get out from underneath here. You want to get all greasy, do you? You don't want to get all greasy. You're gonna get all greasy. Let me get this light set in here. Had this problem the other day. You know, you either have it in your eye or it never is where you want it, it seems like. I'm complaining on this light this morning. I gotta stop that. I don't like it when I do that. You started complaining, you never stop. Okay, I've already taken that top bolt out so I don't have to climb back up there and do it. You can actually get to the top bolt on the starter from the top. Take this little plastic cover off so that you can get to. This is the 10 millimeter bolt. That's the low voltage wire. This is the wire coming from your key switch. This wire right here is the one that only energizes 12 volts when you turn it to the run position, to the start position, I mean. When you turn the key over to start the engine, it energizes this part, this post on the coil, pulls the coil in, brings the ring gear into contact with the crank gear, and also starts spinning the starter. This is almost instantaneous. When this solenoid energizes, it throws that little gear into the crank gear in there, and it starts spinning it really fast, you know. And so this is where the usually the problem will develop. But also in this one, where it was the brushes back here just got filthy because they got dumped by that oil filter. You see that oil filter right above the solenoid? That is going to dump the oil right on the end of the starter every time. I'm telling you, the next time I change the oil, if I can't come up with a way to put something in there that it doesn't dump oil everywhere and mess up everything, I'm just going to pull the starter off because it's so easy to do it anyway. I bet you that's how they do it. I'm not going to say they do, but I bet you at the Ford dealer, that's what they do. They charge you for taking that starter off to change the oil, you know? Who knows? Craziest thing I've ever seen. Who would even, why would they do that? I don't know. I don't want to get started talking too much about it, but I don't know why, but it just doesn't seem like a very good idea to me. Okay, now we can see that. As soon as I get that set, then my camera goes off my head. Boy, I tell you, this is really hard trying to film underneath here. I hope you guys appreciate it. But I've only got one bolt left. I only have one bolt left securing the starter on. It's this one right here. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that after I get these two wires. So the bottom wire is a 10, the top is a 13. The top wire, of course, is the hot heavy wire coming from the battery. That's the heavy 12 volt high amperage wire that energizes this starter to turn it over. The solenoid is a low voltage setup from the key just to pull the points closed so that they make contact for this heavier wire to pass the heavier current through to the starter. I'm going to explain all that to you for you beginners so that you understand the concept of what I'm talking about. This would be called a low voltage starting system. I mean, our low voltage circuit for the start. Okay, now we're going to just get this 10mm bolt off up here, and I'm going to do that with this little air ratchet if I can, and I'm pretty sure I can. I'm going to get me a Milwaukee electric ratchet. I'm tired of fooling around with this cord, man. It's just too hard to get on and off these things. I don't know if you just saw that solenoid just spin around a little bit when I just loosened that bolt on there, and that's because there's a crack right there. You see that crack right there where my finger is? And that's causing this solenoid to be loose, and that's actually, after I had cleaned it, I would have left it on there if it didn't have that crack, but I can't trust it having that crack. Excuse my taking my hand, but I got to be able to get my hand in there to get that off. That upper bolt. Okay, there's one. There's one of the little bolts. Now I'll take the tin off. Got another ratchet set up for that one. I'm still working with one hand. I have my arm out of the sling right now. My doctor would kill me if he knew I did. But I gotta be able to get in here and work, man. Always making sure and check your direction on your socket before you put it on. know, the same old. I make the same old mistakes over and over. Now I don't want to fool around with this bolt all day, so I'm going to change the socket on my air ratchet. Because I want to get done with this. It's a simple job, no sense in dragging it out when you can get an electric tool on something, or an air tool, or whatever. I have my electric ratchet, my little Milwaukee electric ratchet, which I'm going to buy, and I haven't done it yet. I just been putting it off. I don't know why. But see how much easier that is when you're working in a tight spot. Why fool around with it when you got an air tool? I just got the car up on ramps right now, just little cheap ramps, just so save me some trouble of not having a jacket and put jack stands and all that stuff, you know. Okay, I'm gonna get this last mounting bolt right here, then the starter will drop, or it'll come out. Let's put my 13 bracket, excuse me, my 13 bracket on, so I can move this. I take this off. Before I hit the air on one of these, I like to try to turn it by hand. And you see that starter loosened up, but it won't drop. That starter won't fall. It's got a little deal holding it on there. Plus I didn't take the wires off yet. It's got a little nipple on there to stab it into place with when you're putting it on. And when you get her loosened, you see this comes right off. There's a little shim right there. There we go. Then the wires, you know, you could actually put the wires on. If it would be easier for you, you could put the wires on while you got the starter out, actually. You always press for room, man, no matter what you're doing. Camera has slipped off my head again. There we go. Okay, so there's your opening. There's your crank gear right there. And what a crummy design. I'm telling you, why would they put that right underneath that filter? That just doesn't make any sense to me. Look at that. That doesn't make any sense at all. They did that. They had to have done that on purpose. It's crazy. Okay, so now we'll get out from underneath here, and there's the starter. Like I say, this oh, was that cracked? Maybe that wasn't cracked. No, that's just part of the forging. That's just part of the forging housing there. That just spun a little bit when I was tightening it. No big deal. Anyway, this starter's still good, but I'm going to disassemble it one more time just to see what putting it back on there. This little bit of oil you see right here, that might have dripped down. It could be a leak. Boy, I think I'm going to try on this new starter. I might try to just seal up this end a little bit. That could have been, though, the solution I put in there, the solvent, when I was cleaning the starter, a little bit dripped out of the bottom of it, because I don't see any oil leak up there around that filter or anything, but I'm going to take another close look at that. Okay, so now to keep this stupid camera from moving around, I'm going to take the slack out of my strap down here if I can, but I can't. This is the problem, see, with filming with the camera on your head. You know, if you can keep it from moving around on you, you know you're in good shape, but good luck with that. Okay, Now, we'll grab the other starter. Right here it is. I ordered my starter from Rock Auto. I got it for, let's see, they wanted $188 plus the core at my local parts store here. So I got on computer, I looked on Rock Auto. They had this wonderful, beautiful starter right here from Remy for $115. Got here, I paid a little extra, got it here in a couple of days. If I'd have been home Monday, I didn't know they were supposed to get a signature to drop it off. It was my first time using DHL, and so they didn't drop it off without a signature. I didn't get it back here till yesterday evening. So that put off my repair for a couple of days, but that's okay, because it still came and it's exactly what I'm looking for. And I got it for $115, and I mean, that was it. $115. The other one was $188, and that wasn't including taxes and the core charge. So I'm just saying, you know, if you got the time to wait and you can get it from Rock Auto, that's where I'd get it from. That's where I get all my parts. If I can wait. That's a beautiful, beautiful starter. Looks great. And that's why I just don't want to be dumping oil on it. Doggone it. So I'll probably pull the starter every time I change the oil myself. I'll be honest with you. I don't know why I wouldn't. Okay. I'm going to put these new bolts on the starter. Okay. So, not hesitate. Get back down there and put this on. It is cold outside today. It's only about 20 degrees in Chicago. Hello, Bonnie, that's my little puppy. Come here, girl. Come here. I leave my door open to my kitchen up there, and I blow some warm air down here, and then I put a couple of heaters on, and that warms the old garage up, even though it's 20 degrees outside. You can't see your breath in here, so it's probably about 40 degrees, 45. Where you going, girl? You can't go out right now. You gotta wait a minute. Daddy's gotta put this starter on. Talk to this dog like she's a little child. And she is mine, my little child. I love this dog just like you probably love your children. Ah, don't I, baby? Oh, yeah. Yes, you're my little puppy. You're my little puppy. My little Bonnie Lass, my little rescue dog. I wouldn't take nothing in the world for her. She's such a good little puppy. All right, now we're gonna get this bottom bolt in first. It's just bottom bolt stabbed in. Like I said, I'm still working with a bad arm, and boy, that makes everything hard. I have to get in position so that I can only use my right hand. But that's okay. This starter will go right up. I didn't have near this trouble the other day. Why am I having so much trouble? There we go. Just get her into position. Like I said, if I had two good hands, I wouldn't be having all this trouble. There's that little nipple right there. And once you get that stabbed in position, it ain't going nowhere. Get this little bottom bolt started. Just want to get this bottom bolt started. I don't want to tighten it, but I am going to tighten it up a little bit because I don't want the starter to drop too far, so I can put that top bolt in. I think my little puppy has to go outside. She's shaking. Yeah, she got to use the bathroom. You got to use the bathroom, don't you? Huh? You got to do your business? Look at her. You got to go do your business? All right, Daddy knows. Oh, yeah, she got a poo-poo probably. You got to go do your business. Come on. Come on. Let's go do your business. There we go. Had to clear out some space to get in my garage this morning. Pretty day out here in Chicago. Don't look like it's as cold as it is, but it is. I had to push my old Cub Cadet out of the way. Bonnie, don't go too far. She wants to go play, and that's what she wants to do. Barney! There she goes. That's what was getting her. She had to poop. GoPro, stop recording. Okay, now I'm back out here on top again, and I'm going to try to get that top bolt started from up here on top before I go any further. I should be able to get that thing started as soon as I can find the bolt. This is half my problem most of the time, searching for the bolts. Now these bolts have a certain type of material on them to help pass the ground from the body to the engine motor, from the starter body to the engine motor. So we have to keep that in mind. Wonder how they always know. Just where to put things so they will be right in your way. You know, just the littlest things that they know that will cause you a problem. They always seem to know just where to put it. Like this device right here. They could have put it anywhere except right where you have to put your hand in there to start that bolt for that starter. I'll never understand it. I'll never understand why they do things like they do. Well, I know from experience before, that top bolt is going to require either that setup right there, or it's going to need that extension on it too. I don't remember exactly, but man, I've got to do some arranging in the garage. I need to get all my hoses off the floor, all my cords off the floor, get them hung up with some kind of a deal so I'm not having to fight this hoses and cords all the time. You can see the problem I'm having right here. I just want to get this starter up here, get it tightened up a little. I have to use my bad arm. Peg back in there. Get this bolt in as far as I can to keep this from hanging down. That'll make it easier for me to start my upper bolt. If I can get that to start without hanging down like that, I'll be lucky. And that arm has no power. Oh man, that arm has no power. Look at that. I'm sorry I can't keep the camera on there for you, but I got to get my hand in there. Try to get that bolt started on that top. can't do anything with this bad arm. All right, try something different. Gotta get this bad arm underneath here so that I can turn this bolt on top with my good arm. Okay, got it started. Whew. See the stuff you run into out here? Man, I tell you, if you want to start working on your own car, that's a good thing, but you better be ready to run into some problems. If you're one of those kind of people that doesn't have patience and you don't want to try to work things out, when they start giving you a hard time, you're going to be in trouble in auto mechanics. Because you have got to have patience. Okay, there's my 2 bolts right there, okay? There's the peg I'm trying to keep in the hole. This stinking bolt doesn't want to tighten. How's this a new one? A new starter. A new starter body. I can't get that too tight, man, or I'll have trouble up here. See, that bolt's not even started yet. God dog it. If I had 2 good arms, there wouldn't be nothing to this job. Nothing. But with one bad one, oh, it makes it challenging. All right. Well, I got this here. I'm gonna slip that on there, and this one too. I don't want to have to fight them when I get back around there. Okay. Now I'm going to loosen this one here so that when I tighten my top one, that doesn't hinder my top when I go to tighten it. I'm going to try to tighten that right now. Taking it off instead of putting it on. Okay. get a ratchet on that and try to see if I can put that on there a little better. Okay. So far, so good. There is a disadvantage to working on the ground, there's no doubt about that, but you got to do the best you can do, you know. I'm going to put the old ones back on because I like the old ones better. The old one has a cap washer on it attached to it, and the new one doesn't. I don't know why that is, but that is the way it is. Okay, I'm going to put this small one on first because I'm right here and I can see it. Now, if I was going to put a remote starter switch on here, I would remove this small wire. This is where I would put my one end of my starter switch. The other one I would attach to the negative or positive battery post. I don't know which one I would do right now, but I'll go over that again later. But anyway, this is where you would put one into the switch, and then the other you would attach, I believe, to the positive side of the battery, and then that would deliver the charge that you need, just like when you hit the key. When I hit this remote starter switch, it supplies power to the solenoid. If the solenoid's working, it'll cause the solenoid to engage, and then that puts power to, or closes the contacts to the heavy wire, supplying power to the motor. Okay, that's how this works. So now one more bolt I've got to put on up here where the heavy wire for the starter connects. You can see right there where that is, right there. So I've got to get this nut on there. I gotta go out of focus again, folks. I gotta get somewhere in position where I can get my hand in there. Boy, boy, boy. Let me see. This air line, it is just driving me up the wall today. Okay, finally. Can't tell you how many times you have to work on something on the car where you can't see it. You know, you just gotta get your hand in there the best you can and try to feel what you're doing. That's what I'm trying to do, get that nut on that post right there. And of course the battery cable's made where it makes it hard. They decided to put this little lid over the top of it for some reason. It's between that and the oil filter. I guess that's just to protect the bolt from the oil filter. I have no idea why this little end is on here, other than to make it hard for you to just get the bolt on. To tell you the truth, that's all it looks like it was put there for, what I can see. I hope you all can see that. I know the camera on my head is not the greatest place while I'm working underneath the car, but there's not a thing I can do about it. Okay, well, anyway, the two bolts are on. Now all I got to do is just tighten them and then put the little cap on, check the secureness of the bolts, and then I'll have it. So I will put on my 13. Make sure I'm tightening. Get back up on my bolts. I'm not going to give this a full shot of heavy air. Good enough. It's good enough. I'll put the 10 on. Take the 13 off, put the 10 on. Just snug them down, and then I'll finish it by hand. Good enough. Okay. Now I will test that. Bottom one. I don't want to hit that too hard with that air ratchet, because man, that will cinch it down. That's plenty tight. Okay. I'm going to just see if I can get anything on that top bolt that I couldn't get through. If I can't get it from down here, I'll get it from the top. Just to make sure that starter is on nice and tight. There's the bolt right up there. There we go. That's why you need a ratchet, man, that you can manipulate for these kind of bolts. Right there. Okay, that's on. That's it. New starter's on. I'll tighten up the battery connection. Let me put this cap back on here. This cap has a is made so that it can cover that lower post and the two upper ones. So you just got to get your hand right again. It just pops right on there. And cover those two things up. I couldn't do that again if I was trying. Could not lose that piece again if I was trying to. Shit. I know you guys probably can't see a thing I'm doing this whole video, but like I said, there's a couple of these videos out there that on YouTube. You can't use mine, you can use somebody else's. I can't figure out why it won't go on. Some reason. They must have made something different on this one than they did on the other one. 'Cause it ain't gonna stay on there. If I put it on, it's just gonna pop right off. I don't want to lose it, so I ain't gonna. Alright, I'm just gonna leave it off. GoPro, stop record. Okay, so now here we are. We've got our starter in. We got all our bolts secured. Our new starter is in, and like I say, there's that oil filter right above it. You see that? Man, that ought to be against the law the way they made that right there. That's just criminal. Dropping oil right on, I mean, just dumping it right on top of that starter every time you change the oil. I am dedicated. I'm telling you right now, I'm never going to change the oil without taking the starter off first. That's just ridiculous. Oh boy, I might even have an oil pan an oil pan leak, and they say that's another common problem with these Ford Taurus is an oil pan leak, and I can see right there, doggone it, I might have one. And of course it's right above the starter. Look at that. And can you believe that, man? That just is not right there. That's not right. I'm gonna have to pull this stinking oil pan. I'm gonna have to pull that oil pan, change the filter, excuse me, change the gasket. To keep it from dripping down on the starter. Bummer. I'm just gonna have to try to come up with some idea. Make some kind of shield to keep that oil from falling down on that starter. That is, man, you know, I gotta shut up. I'm just gonna complain. But I gotta catch that oil leak in that oil pan. Okay, let's go back up top and take a look at what's going on up there. And got the battery hooked up. Oh boy, that arm is hard to stretch. Okay, boy, if you ever have your shoulder rebuilt, get ready for some real pain, because when you stretch that arm, like make a mistake and forget and reach out with that and put that arm out too far, whew, that's painful. Okay, now I've already rehooked my battery cable, so I'm going to go and crank it up and see what happens and see if we have us a fix. The starter, when it tried to turn the other day, it just went and it started squeaking. I knew right then what it was. Okay, here we go. That's the way it's supposed to crank right there. That is the way a new starter is supposed to make her crank. So we're going to call that a fix. I got the garage door closed, so I'm going to go ahead and shut it off. And that's a fix on our 2006 Ford Taurus. The starter. The next thing I'll do, I'll just take the old starter apart, clean it out again, see if I can order a set of brushes for it. Just take these 4 bolts out. This cap comes off. This thing comes apart, and see the starter. You can just tell it hadn't had much wear. It was just that oil dripping down on it right there. Look at that. What a bummer. $115 every time you got to change that stinking thing. So I'm going to try to see if I can come up with maybe a piece of asphalt. Oh boy, see, it's right here. This is the problem. No matter what you do, you can just kind of run some tape across the end, and I could do that, just try to run some tape across the end and seal it. That would have to be, you know, you can't, anything probably help it. Anyway, okay, so that's the end of our video. GoPro, stop recording.